What's up, guys? I'm back in the garage. It's day 2, and it's super late, guys. I had a lot of dad stuff to do today, so I didn't get started till like when I wanted to, but that's neither here nor there. I did manage to record the weights of the piston and the piston and pins, and then the rods. So the majority of the pistons come out to be roughly 583 grams. So I got 583.2, 583.0, 582.9, 582.9, 583.1, 582.3. I got one 583.8, which is the heaviest one, and then I got a super light one at 581.6. So the majority of them are right around 583. So we're going to call the piston and pin weights 583. It just came out that way. And the majority of the rods are 694. So what I got for the rod sizes is 694.2, 695.7, 694.4, 694.5, 694.4, 694.5, 696.4, which is the heaviest one, and then 696. So I'll match the heaviest one with the lightest one. And then I'll get all the ones that are super close to each other. I'll match those guys. And then, I mean, it's not going to be perfectly balanced, but it'll be as close to balanced as I can get. And then what I'll do is I'll hang the heavier ones on each end and then the lighter ones in the middle. That way, I'm trying to get the engine to run as smooth and efficiently as possible. I did the same thing with the 6.4, so that I put together for Frankenstein, the final boss 6.4, which isn't all the way built, but the short block is complete. So same concept here, guys. Hopefully you guys learn this. This is probably OCD. You could probably just hang these guys any kind of way and be done with them. But for me, I like to get it as evenly balanced as possible, because I plan on turning this engine to like 7,500 RPMs and shifting it between 73 and 7,400 RPMs. Putting on, making 20 to 25 pounds of boost. So it's going to see some abuse. So I want it to be as balanced as possible and ready to go. So with that said, let's get it together. You guys have seen the Molnar boxes before, so that's no big deal. But I'd like to show you the DSS box. It comes like packaged really nice. I like DSS pistons. I don't know why. I just like DSS pistons. They put the part number on there, so you can see this is a 39937 piston. So I've got 20 thousandths overbore, and then here's their part number. It's a 5.7 small block Mopar Hemi. The series is FX. It's a -12 cc dish. And then the forging is a 2618 forging, as if you look right here. So it gives you all the information that you need right there. It's set for a 927 small block Chevy pen. I like those. It has the stroke of 357, but we ignore that because I'm running a 372 stroke, so I have to compensate for my rod length, which is why we have a 6175 rod. So the rod length that they want you to run with this is a 63, which is a stock rod. Again, I'm not using a stock rod. I'm using a aftermarket custom rod from Molnar, which is 6175, and then that brings my deck height to 924.3 as opposed to 925. There's math to doing that, and maybe one day I'll go over how you do the math to get to the rod length and the deck height and all that stuff. So you just don't want your pistons sticking out of the bore, and so with doing all the math and calculations, I make sure that they don't come out of the bore. And then you got the Gen 3 Hemi heads. So for my ring size, it's a 1.2, 1.23. And for that, I have this Hastings box here, which if you look, you see it says Chrysler 5.7 Hemi 1.2, 1.2, 3.0. So that's the right box. And these are file fit rings. So after we get these pistons hung, on the rods, which is going to take a little bit of time, we'll start file fitting the rings, and then we'll be ready to slide it home. And what I have for the pistons to install them, just like I have for the 6.4, I have the I don't know, this is a 3D printed ring compressor. These are the ones that you don't have to adjust. You just slide it in there. So I just buy the ones that are designed for the piston style that I'm using, and it just works amazing. And then, like I showed you guys before in the past, here's my 4090 one. You can see it's been used quite a bit. When we cleaned it, the brake clean takes some of the coating off, but it still works flawlessly. I've built like, I want to say like 4 or 5 engines with that, depending on, I built the same engine 3 times with that ring compressor. And then oh goodness gracious, I'm gonna have to put you guys down for a second. But yeah, I built the same engine 3 times with that one, and then I built the Final Boss engine with that compressor, and then I loaned it out to Mac Built. He's built an engine with it. It's just a fantastic tool. I really recommend you guys ordering them off eBay. They're roughly like 30-40 bucks, but so worth the time. So worth the time. All right, let's get into it, guys. All right, guys. So as you can see, I got all my pistons labeled, and as you can see from left to right, it's kind of in the heaviest order. So obviously this is the lightest one, 581.6. So that's going to be the first one that we put together. Then 582.3, and then we have two 582.9s. This is basically the same as this 583.0 and the 583.1. So these 4 are within like very, very few, like not even a gram of each other. They're so close, like 1/10 of a gram one way or the other. Like that's essentially the same piston. And then these two, the heaviest one is the 583.8, so that's going to get the lightest rod. And then we'll just go from there. So we're going to have the heaviest rod, which will be the 696.4 is the heaviest rod. We'll go to that one. And then the next heaviest rod, where did I put my stuff? The next heaviest rod is the 696.0. So that'll go with this guy right here. So the first 2 rod and piston pin combination is right there. And then from there, I'll narrow in on 694.5. I'll start looking at 694.4. So those are just super close to each other. Yeah, I got a couple 694.4s and a couple 695.5. So the next couple, like this is going to work out perfect. So these 2 are 694.5s, and this one is a 694.4. So that's going to fall well within where I need it to fall for 694.4. So perfect. Like this is going to end up working out really, really well. I think we're going to get this guy pretty close to spot on with the weights. 695.7, and then this one is 694.2. Interesting. So that's a light guy. So we'll put that guy there. All right, so for the heaviest one, it's going to get this 694.2 right here. So I can get those guys hung and get it all situated. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna start on this deal, and it's gonna take a little bit of time. So I'll show you like the first one, and then what we'll do after that is I'll just hang these guys up, and I'll show you me weighing all of them to kind of compare how close they are. I think I can get these guys within like 2 to 3/10 of a gram of each other, which is damn near perfect. So that's my goal. So hold on, let's get this first one. Did I open these? I did open these. All right, cool. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna find this section here. This is the largest section, so that's the intake section, and I'm doing the driver's side first. But I believe if this is done correctly, it doesn't even matter if you hang these guys the correct way. It's my belief. I think Frostbite Ram showed this on his build for the 6.4. Wow, there's oil in there from from the packaging. It's all good. So here's the flat end. So that's the side that you're gonna want to go towards the back. So if this is on the driver's side, right? Imagine the engine's going. I'm trying to show you guys. Imagine the engine is facing forward, right? And this is on the driver's side. So this chamfered end needs to be facing the front of the crank. If it was on the passenger side, it needs to be facing the back of the crank. So when you're doing this, if you have the piston like this, right, with the large relief for the intake valve open right there and the small for the intake valve right there. So you set it up like this and you put the pin, let me just slide the pin in. It's not gonna stay, but I'll slide the pin in. I probably gotta put some oil on this deal, but let's get this situated. There we go. So I'm just gonna slide the pin in. I'm not gonna put the retainers in yet. I'll do that here in a minute. But I just want to show you guys what I'm talking about. So I have the intake relief, which is the larger relief compared to the smaller relief right there. The chamfer side is the front. So that's the driver's side. If I switch it over and go there, it will still be, the chamfer side needs on the point towards the back of the crank. So this is the correct way to install all of these aftermarket pistons. Just have it facing forward like so. And I got to shout out Frostbite Ram. Thanks, man, for showing me that. I always know how to do it because I double check. But once you gave me that little tech tip, man, that makes building these engines so much easier. You always put the chamfer side to the left, and then the intake facing towards the top, facing away from you. Once you do that, hanging these pistons and rods are so easy. It's just a matter of just getting them in the clips. So here's the number one. Well, here's what I'm gonna make number one. But yeah, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that. Now, oh wow, look at that. There's some oil all along here. So I'm gonna just clean that up a little bit. I'm gonna have to get my my snap ring pliers, because these ones are not like the JE pistons that I did or the MMX pistons. These ones actually have a snap wire, and they take 2 per side. So it takes a total of 4 of these snap wires, these snap rings, to hold them in place. I don't know why DSS does that. I actually like it better. It's actually easier to install than the push locks, the spiral locks, the half locks, but they're not spiral locks. They're I don't know what they're called, but they're not spiral locks. But I like these better because it's, for me personally, they're a little bit easier to get in. So I'm gonna open up my tool chest here, and I grab my handy dandy snap wires, and then we put these guys here like so, and just kind of slide it in. She's in, but now I gotta grab my pick too. So we'll use our pick also just to kind of make sure that it's in the correct snapped area. Oh, let me just push this down a little bit. There we go. Snap her on in there. There's one. Now we're going to snap the other guy on this side in, and then we'll put 2 more in. I mean, just like the other ones, you don't want to lose these guys. If you do, it's a brutal time finding them. These guys will spring and fly all over the dang place like that. So you got to be careful. I have another set of snap pliers that I might have to break out too, just in case. There we go. All right, so now I got the snap ring in there. there's a little groove that you gotta kind of get them to go in. So you gotta pay attention and look, because if you don't get them in the groove, then you're not gonna be able to get this thing to move around and do what you need it to do. So I have the first set of snap rings installed, so you guys can see that. There's one on there on each side. And now I'm gonna go ahead and install the second snap ring for each one, because it requires 2 per side. That's just how DSS does it. And I'm gonna grab my other snap ring pliers too, just in case, because sometimes it's easier with the 90 degree, sometimes it's easier with the straight on. I don't, it just is what it is. So we're gonna try to guide this guy around here. Nice. So let's see what I can do. Oh, please be here. So you guys just saw me lose one, and I'm in trouble if I don't find it. It's on this top here somewhere. I have no idea where. I just heard it land. So I'm not gonna look for it. All right, so we kind of got this guy installed. This is why you got to have your picks. So that one's installed. So now we got one more to go. Push that all the way down, make sure it's there. And hopefully I'll get my rhythm. So this has got to be like the most annoying video for you guys to watch based on how long it takes me to get these things in, but I just wanted to show you guys this is like not easy. Oh, maybe that's the technique. Maybe I found a technique now. Yeah, buddy. I think I found a technique. I think I found a technique for sure. All right, guys. So after about 7 minutes of fighting with this deal, I now have this guy with a double. Hopefully that's showing up with a double snap ring lock in there, snap lock on each side. So this piston is done for now. So what I do is I take it and I'll set it in my box right here, my little holder, and we're gonna just turn it around. It's gonna be the driver's side for now, and then we're on to the next one. I am not gonna bore you guys with all of this, so I will just go ahead and knock the rest of these guys out as quickly as I can, and then we'll come back when it's time to foul fit rings. I'm also going to look for that other snap ring because I need it. So more to come. Quick, guys, so I was able to find a bunch of my old ones, my old snap rings from the very first 6.4 build that I did with DSS pistons. It also used a 927 wrist pin with from DSS. So they use those snap rings for every 927 pin. So I have the exact same. I have a ton of spare ones. So I'm not even going to waste my time looking for the other one. Pretty lucky. I forgot that I had those. I just thought about it just on a whim. I was like, I don't want to look for all of this stuff. So I just took a quick shot at it, and it's right where I left them. They were right where I left them with the other wrist pins. So with that being said, we should have plenty of plenty of snap rings to build all of these pistons. Some more to come. I'm pretty excited about that. All right, guys. So after doing this for quite some time, I figured out the best way for me to get this done is to set the snap ring up on there like that, put my thumb on it, squeeze tight, push in, and boom, it's done. So now I just take my little pick, you hear that snap, my little pick screwdriver, and then I just kind of slide it over a little bit like that. So you can see there's the two snap rings on each side, just to make sure that they're out of the lock groove. I mean, they're in a lock groove, but they're like out of the part where this little part right here where you get it in and out. So now I got this side done. Well, one of them done on this side. So now I'll do the other side and I'll show you guys. These are really simple once you kind of get a method going. And then the only other thing I will say is you gotta make sure that your work area is clean. My work area is fairly clean, but there's a little bit of debris. See, it's done. I've already got it in, and now I'm just kind of sliding it so that I have the spring tension on each side. But sometimes you might have to use this this Moly lubricant, the synthetic lubricant that you put on the bearings for pre-coat, because sometimes the pins are really in there tight, and you know it calls for giving it some pre-lube anyway. So it's just good to have that on hand, and then you're good to go. But more to come. We're almost done, man. I got 2 more left, and then I'm done. So yeah, this is going by pretty darn quickly now that I got my rhythm. I've been out here for roughly an hour or so, but this is a lot of fun. This is the part of the build that I actually enjoy the most, which is building the engine. Transmission is going to be fun too, and all the other stuff, but I just really, something about coming up with the engine combination is really really works for me. I really enjoy that. So I hope you guys are enjoying this as well, and we will talk more later. All right, guys, so as you can see, I have all of the rods and pistons, the rods hung on the pistons. So if you look here from this big point of view, I have 8 rods and 8 pistons. This left side here is driver's side. This right side here is passenger side. I still need the foul fit rings. What's up, guys? So I'm back, and you're not gonna be able to see my face, but I'm working on getting these pistons installed. So this is the last one. This is number 6 that I can do today. The reason being is I'm missing 2 oil rings for the number 7 and number 8. So we just pressed forward, and what we're doing is we're setting this up. So I have this 3.937 ring compressor, and I slide it in here. And then what you have to do is you have to squeeze these together with your hands to get it started. And then once it's started, you can kind of push it down like that till it gets to a certain point. So now you got enough to stick out and slide in there. But what I'm gonna do before I stick it in, because you don't want to be fighting things, is I'm gonna take my handheld impact, my electric impact, and loosen up the bolts from the factory. These are ARP 2000 bolts, really nice bolts. And you got to break this loose, which you're gonna have to use a little force. These are on here pretty good. We're gonna put one of our King coated bearings on here. King coated bearing. We're gonna put that on there, like so. And then we're gonna take some of our assembly lube. I put a dot on there like that. And then what I do is I just use my finger. As you can see, I have gloves, so there's no contaminants, or there shouldn't be any contaminants. And then I move it like that. So there's that. Now, we're gonna position it with the intake the intake relief up top, and that shows you the flat side right there, because this is the right side, so this is number 6. I'm gonna slide it in there, and now she's kind of where she needs to be. So the next thing I do, which I've already lubed up this deal, this compressor deal, but I spray some more. You can use WD-40. I like PB Blaster around so the rings can get a little oiled up. And then the fun part begins. You take your little hammer. Why are we not going down? Maybe I try to freaking film this still. There we go. So now I'll come underneath and I'll try to guide it. And as you can see, she's in. So now, hear that? Can't move no more because it's on the crank journal. So the next thing we gotta do is we gotta put the other second half to the main, to the rod bearing on, which I have over here. Second half to the rod bearing. So rod bearing's on. Hopefully you guys are seeing that show up. And again, just a little dab to coat it so that it's not spinning over dry. So coated it over, you guys. Hopefully this is showing up as glossy on the camera. But so now the flat side, the shiny flat side, has to face the front of the motor, and then the Phillips side has to face the back of the crank, because this is the passenger side. It's opposite on the driver's side. So I'll come underneath here and do it this way. Normally I would flip the engine, but I'm just being kind of lazy today. And then I have the bolt here, and I have the lube for the bolt here. So hopefully this is showing up. And then I just put the lube on the bolts, use my finger, kind of working in there. And then we get it started, and we'll use the impact just to kind of drive it home. We'll get the final torque specs when I have the other pistons installed. I'll do them all at the same time. So that's my actual process. I don't know if I've actually shown you guys the process before, but that's my actual process for assembling these guys. I've built plenty of engines on YouTube already. I've probably put 3 or 4 of them on here, but I don't think I've ever shown the actual process. So just wanted to show you guys. And we are essentially done. So as you can see, there are 3 pistons on this side. It's empty hole there. 3 pistons on this side. Empty hole there. Again, I already ordered it. So I ordered another set of rings from Hastings. I don't know how long it's going to take to get here, maybe a few days. I'm not really 100% sure, but we'll get those in, and then we'll finish up the remainder 2 pistons. Here they are over here. Oh, I'm tripping, dying over here. Here's the last 2 pistons here. So I'm missing the rings that go in between here, the top and bottom ring that goes in between here. So I can't complete this deal because the motor will smoke if you put it together like that. But I got the other 2 rings here so I can foul fit those and put them on, but it's kind of no point in doing that without having the oil rings on first. So we're just gonna leave it. But that's gonna do it for this one. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. If you like what I'm doing, you know, give me a comment, please. That helps me out. Subscribe if you can, if you want to. If not, I understand. Ring the bell, the notifications, all the stuff that YouTube asks you guys to do. Appreciate you all. Take care. See you in the next one. 3 Pedal J saying rev her up, dump the clutch, grab a gear, disappear. Peace.